Hello and welcome to my channel again if you are returning, and welcome if you are new. I hope that you are able to get some fun out of our video today and be able to maybe pick up some things that you want to do, see what I'm doing, just chat with me, all that kind of good stuff. This is the Wendy in Neverland channel, in case you were not meaning to click on this one. I'm Wendy, obviously. That's who I am. A big hello to all my stitchy friends. I'm so glad that you are here again. I have a special couple of hello shout outs. I can't talk today, apparently. I didn't do this last month. I just kind of forgot, and I don't know, my mind was not with me. So I hope I get your name right, or the name you've picked for your social media. It's Mojarba, I think is how it's pronounced. I'm not sure. Big hello to you. Thank you so much for your comment about the Roo conversion that I had showed last time. He was a lot of fun to stitch, and I really enjoyed putting all those fun things in the Roo's pockets, as well as some of the changes that I made. Also, hello to Rachel Wright. So, hello. Thank you for your hearts on the last video that I did. Yeah, I'd like to keep doing the hello shout outs if I remember. I will see. As you can see, last time I didn't do it. So, I'd been good up until then, 2 or 3 months worth of them, and then I just totally forgot. Oh well. So yes, thank you for coming, and hopefully we'll have a good time today. Now, I have a lot of progress on stitchy projects. A lot of new ones, it looks like. I have one that's a whip, and all the others are new, I believe, new starts. I also have some bags and those floss files that I'm calling them. I have those I'm going to show you. And then some just news about our family. So we'll kind of touch base on those things as well. So let's jump right in. Just kind of as an update of what I had talked about in the last video, was I was going to be leaving, I believe, in the next couple of days to go to Texas. We flew into Dallas, and then I had to drive another 2 or so hours south of there to see my mother. She lives in a little teeny tiny town called Calvert. Good luck finding it on the map. It's pretty small. It was really nice being able to see her. I was actually, the days that I was there, and there weren't many. There's like 3 days, I think, total that I was there. But one of them was her birthday, so that was kind of nice to be able to spend time with her on her birthday, since, I mean, my sister lives down there, so she can see her, but that's the only other family. So it was kind of nice for her to be able to have somebody else come and visit. It was cold. This was about a month ago. There were some cold streaks, and I know they've had off and on, they've had funky weather as well, off and on, where it will get down to 28 and then it'll be 78 the next day, and just, it's kind of been all over the place. So yeah, it was chilly while we were there. So we did what we could. There's really, I mean, it's winter for one thing, and so there's just only so much you can do. There's not, there was like 3, I think, I don't know if there was more, 3 antique stores in their tiny little town, and we hit them all. We went to all of them, looked around. They kind of have weird hours where a lot of the stores are open on Sunday, but they wouldn't be open on Monday. And I had flew in on Saturday, so I was there Monday and Tuesday, and then I left sometime on Wednesday, I believe. I may be off on those days. Anyway, the point is that you would think Monday maybe they would have open and not be closed, and closed on Sunday instead, but it was kind of the reverse. So we did the stuff we could in that little town on Sunday, and then Monday, I know we drove into College Station, which is about a half an hour southeast of the little town she's in. So it's the closest big town that's going to have a lot of your bigger stores like Home Depot, Lowe's, Marshall's, the big grocery stores, all that kind of stuff. So we drove in there and just kind of shopped, I guess is the best thing. I mean, we did have some lunch, but there's just only so much to do that's not a really, really long drive. We did drive to Waco one of the days, and I don't remember which. Waco is the opposite direction, and it's about an hour away. So we did drive to there, went to the silos, which a lot of people do, and I wasn't there. I mean, we'd already been there the last time I had visited, so it wasn't like it was something new for me to be able to see. It was just because there's only so much to do again that, you know, well, might as well go there again. And they had expanded. I was there probably 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and they have added quite a bit more. So that was kind of neat to see what they had added. One of the things was this miniature-sized baseball diamond. An actual baseball diamond. So they had wiffle balls and plastic bats on the side so the kids could actually play baseball, kind of wiffle ball, on this little field. It was really cute. It was really cute. There's a couple other stores that we've gone to before, so we went back to those. Just, you know, had lunch while we were out there. So yeah, not a whole lot that we did, but it was very nice to be able to see her and visit with her. She is in the process of fixing another house. She built the tiny house she lives in right now on this property. It's like 10 acres. So it's kind of on the, even though the town isn't that big, it's on the outskirts of this town. So she's got fields. But built this tiny house on there and has decided to move again. She's very much a nomad. She doesn't sit in one place for very long. So this house needed to be completely gutted and redone. There was a small fire. Apparently there was a detached single car garage that had kids caused a fire, and it had also burned some of the house, basically the back area by the garage, obviously, that would have been more of a mud room. So there wasn't really any other damage to the house from the fire, but there's a lot to be done. So it's an older home, like the early 1900s kind of early home. So some of the windows are more of those where each one has panels. So you've got like 12 panels in one window. So the sashing in between, and some of those panels are broke. And so there's, you know, just a lot of things to do. I think she's getting really close to being able to move into it, even though I think when she moves in, it won't be completely finished, but it's getting there. And she, of course, she says, this will be the last time I do this. And every single person that hears that says, no, it won't. We don't believe you. Because she doesn't stop. She just gets restless and needs something else to do. So she buys a house and fixes it. I'm glad she has something to do, but I kind of wish she'd just stay put for a little bit. Oh, goodness. So we will get into some other family kind of news stuff later on. I will kind of break that up so it's not just consistently talking about this the whole time. So let's get into some stitchy stuff. If I have a before picture, I will put it in, which I think there's only the one, so I think I have that picture. If I have the details of what fabric and stuff, I will try to tell you. But don't be surprised if I forget, because I usually do. Okay, one thing that I wanted to talk about that, talking about forgetting things, I had wanted to take a video of this that I had finished and be able to show it to you in this video, because I sent it to somebody as a gift, and so I couldn't show it to you on the last video. And I forgot. Shocking, isn't it? So I'm going to show you what the pattern is, and if you want to see it, I'll tell you where to go to see it, because she did post it. So it was this. Very, very cute, very gnomey, gnome for Christmas. As you can see, the date says 2020, so that's when it probably came out. Obviously, I changed the date to 2021, because that's when I gave it to her. And I had given it to Jody from Jody's Creative Corner. She loves gnomes. She loves purple. So I converted all of the red into purple. If you want the conversion, when she had showed it on her, I think she had it on Instagram, and I can't remember if she showed it in a video, because she's had a lot of things going on recently too, so I can't remember if it's in a video, but it's definitely on Instagram. So if you want to see that, you can go over to her Instagram. I think it's still Jody, Jodi, Jody's Creative Corner, and you can see what it looked like as purple. And somebody did ask what the conversion was that I used for those colors, and I did respond in there, so you might be able to see it under her comments. But if you don't see it, or you just can't find the picture, and you want the conversion, just let me know, and I will give you the conversion for purple if you'd like it. I just basically went to like Joann's and picked out the floss colors that they told me to pick out for red, and then I matched it for the purple, so the shade that purple would be. So if it, you know, for example, if it was a more muted color, I would have picked a more muted purple, and etc., etc. So kind of the shade I matched as closely as I could to the purple of that. So yeah, feel free to give me a little buzz if you need to have that information. But yeah, I wished I had taken a video and I forgot. Okay, let's get into the other things. So the first one I'm going to show you, I had worked on this last time and I had showed you the progress I had gotten done, and I continued to work on it some more until I got to a certain point that I wanted to get to. It's not done, but I got to a certain stopping point and then stopped. So it was this one. So this is the Winter in the Forest by Just Nan. If you watched me last time, you recognize this. So I have a before picture, I believe, so I'll put that in. And this, let me see if I need to put something behind it so that it doesn't, you know, the light doesn't shine through it. My papers are going everywhere. This is what I had finished. Let me unroll that a little bit. So I basically got all the way around. I finished going all the way around. As I mentioned, there's a couple things I still need to do in the center, which is the date. I can't remember if there's anything else, but I got the alphabet done because it's all that. And these, the alphabet letters are all over 1, where everything else is over 2, except for the little animals. Like that bird, that's over 1. All the animals are over 1. So there is more to do. I talked about this last time. So I still need to do these corner ones, so these trees, and then there's a border part that goes all the way around the very, very outside. So I'm really close to finishing this, but it's so deceptive of how long it's going to take me, because I thought that I was going to have this part done much faster than I did. So yeah, it's getting there, but I think, you know, I need to stop for one thing. I need to move on, because otherwise I'll be on this for not getting a whole lot else done. So yeah, I went ahead and put it aside. In case you were also wondering, I'm trying to see here. So these squares are like satin stitch squares, and all the red berries are smeared across this, I believe. Yep. so it's not just a plain X. It's, so I'll show you, it's that kind of thing is what they do. So, getting closer to being finished. Who knows what year I will end up having in there. Okay, so I had purchased something on Stash Unload, which I hadn't really gotten involved in that. I hadn't gotten so that I was looking at stuff, and I mean, it's dangerous, isn't it? It's very dangerous. So I didn't really want to get into it, but I decided, oh, I'm going to try. I'm going to see what I can find. And I found a pattern that I really liked, and the name of the seller sounded very familiar, and it turns out I had just sold her a bag not too long ago. So she contacted me after I said I had liked that, and it's just kind of funny talking about, you know, who she was, and it's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that it's you that I'm getting this from. So I had found, and it was a complete kit. So it had everything in it. And it was this. I love this verse, to everything there is a season. And then the fact that you've got all these seasons here in this circle. It's so pretty. It is a dimensions kit. It came with everything, as I mentioned, because it's a kit. The one thing I didn't notice, stamped cross stitch. I did not know that it was a stamped kit. So, as you can see, there it is. It's stamped. Which, that did make me happy. But you know what? I can still hopefully make this work. Because it comes with a chart. So, you got the chart, so you know where to stitch the colors. The only thing is, on some of it, it's like outlining. Let me see if I can just show you on this. Let me find the one I worked on, and that way I can show you. So the snowflake is outlined and then satin stitched in certain areas. So that one, and then there's a couple more over there. So there's things like that, as well as the words. But what I'm going to do is stitch everything with cross stitches, and then I will use some graph paper and just chart. I'll know how many X's there are that I can use in order to make that fit in the space that I have. And I will chart it, and I will just stitch it that way instead of having it on a stamped one. The lettering, I'll figure that out as it goes. It's going to be kind of the same situation where I will chart it on something and just be able to stitch it that way. So kind of, I know how many squares I need to use, and basically conversion that way. So let me show you what I got done. There it be. That is the winter part of it. I love it. It is so cool. When those leaves and trees were all kind of popping at the top, because that's where I had started, I just really love this. I really was falling in love with this. So, very cool. As you can see, where the outline of some of the snowflakes are here, and there's some over here as well. That's where those will fill in. So, got some of that done. Very, very fun. But yeah, so that's the one part up there. And then we got the other four. Very cool. I love the pictures that they represent for each of the seasons as well. Just, that's kind of what drew me to it. This is not only the verse that to everything there's a season, but the pictures that they actually made for those seasons. Okay, new start. Let's see if the glare is going to affect us. Iced Winter Tree. This is the Hello from Liz Matthews. So yeah, that, I don't know if I used, let me see. Okay, I used the same linen. That one, I'm pretty sure. Let me see what it said here. I'm using a slightly bigger count. So instead of it being 36 count, I'm using 32 count. I am using kudzu, so this is a week's fabric, so it is the same color. The thread, though, I am not using the same thing. It called for 3866. I did not use it. I am using a Silken Colors, and I don't know what color it is here. Let me see if I can get it to move. So I'll pull that out. So here it is. It's very soft. If you've used silk, you know. It's just a white. Even though it looks kind of creamy, and it does, it's so soft. So it's just white is the color for the silk. And then I am blending it with this. So I've got Treasure Braid. This is it's petite Treasure Braid. And it is, well, it's called PB207. But I mean, you can see what color. I mean, it goes very nicely with this. So those are the colors, because I really want it to be kind of icy and sparkly. But that's what I'm using for that. And let me show you what I've done so far. Here's what I've done so far. So it's not until you get up closer, or I mean, the lights, it's not hitting it right when it's in the camera, but I can see it when I look at it. I can see the sparkle. Is this almost all the way across? I have just a little bit more, a couple more drip marks to go, and then I will be all the way across. So it's getting there. So much fun. Something a little different. I love those. I haven't gotten any of the other trees, so I don't know if I will. I mean, it probably would be kind of fun to do those as well and change them out for the seasons or holidays or whatever. But yeah, so far that's all I've done. All right, the next new start. This is a simple one. I just wanted something simple to start. I can't even remember why. Is either I finished the spot I wanted to on something else and just needed something quick to start because I didn't have a lot of time to fuss with things, or I just wanted to do this. I don't remember why I chose this, but it's just the little button and beads, Mill Hill, and this is called Frosty Morning. I love this. I love cardinals in winter. Look, we don't have cardinals here. We had one pair of cardinals when we lived in Minnesota that we would see, not every single year, but because we would see the male and the female. But it was only one pair. I never saw more than that. So I think possibly at the edge of their range as to where they would live, but they do not live here in Oregon. We get blue jays, which Minnesota does not. But blue jays are noxious and mean. So, yes, so I started this because I love that wintry cardinal look. And that one is a button. The other two are stitched. And just that moon, sun look, you know, kind of looks like that on Frosty Mornings is why they call it this, in the winter. It just kind of gives that halo look in the sky. All right, so let's show you what I did, what I have gotten done so far. In fact, I think I still need that just to cover the back. So here's what I've done so far. Gotten quite a bit. I think I still have a little bit more of this color blue that wraps up on this side, and then you get the lightest blue in here, as well as more of the snow in the branches. It seems like, I don't know if this is true or not. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot of beads to this one. Really, the only beads there are within the snow that's on the branches. There's no beads down here in this snow. It's just within the branches. Well, there is some red, but that's like part of the bird's wing, and that's just a small amount, a very, very small amount. So there's some beads on there and some beads here, and I think that's it for the red. The rest of it is the white. that goes with the snow. And they're just clear. So I'll show you what the beads look like. They're just clear beads. And then you got some of the petite red ones for the bird. So I like it. I've wanted to stitch this for a long time. And I'm finally getting to it. The only thing I don't like about kits is that, you know, it's great that they give you all the floss. But if you get kits where they just bundle them all together and you have to separate, I am not a fan of that at all, because some of the colors are so slight that it's really, really hard to tell them apart in some cases. So I separated these, and you can see how many different shades of blue, but this really lightest blue almost looks like the white. In fact, I think I had at least some of the strands when I pulled them out gathered together with the white, and then I had to figure out where this lighter blue was. So I don't particularly enjoy that part of kits and having to mess with all that kind of stuff. So I wish they were able to separate them for you, and or at least in some cases, like if you get some projects that have a lot of beads in it and a lot of colors, they will have 2 separate packs, and they'll say in one pack, these are the beads you have. And no, they're not all separated, but they're separated into 2 separate packs. So anything that's really close in color, they will separate those into different packs. If they just separate the floss into different groups so that you could have the really, like the white and that really pale, pale blue separated, that would have been so much better. So yeah, I just kind of wish they did that for us. Another thing that I have started, though I've talked about having, let me see if I've got that cover page real quick for you. And that is that butterfly temperature chart. So this is doing every single day. You take the high temperature for the day, and you've got spots to fill in for all their wings for each day. And yeah, you take that throughout the year, and you have that. Our temperatures, I mean, not nearly as bad as what I talked about for Texas, have fluctuated quite a bit. So, I mean, I'll show you what I've got. It started out on 36, it's been 49, then down to 41, 45, 40. These are a little more average. 53, then back down, then there. I mean, it just kind of fluctuates. It's not like it's only a degree or 2, except for in one case. There's a bit more of a swing to those. So I had said that I had changed my colors that I was going to use for the days. I didn't use the ones that they had indicated on their chart. Also, the other difference, so you could buy the pattern, PDF, print it off, and then she had sent out, and I know people have had this pattern longer than I have, so I don't know why all of a sudden she was sending this out, but she sent out another conversion for the same exact pattern, except for she wanted to give you the option of making the coloring more symmetrical. So if the beginning of January was much colder than the end of January, then you would have more of those cold temperatures across the top, so they're more symmetrical there, and then the colder or warmer temperatures would be down towards the bottom of the butterfly. So you would think you'd have more of those colors the same as you go down this until you get to the bottom. And they might be a little more warmer. Yeah, so you had your option of which way you wanted to do it. I decided to go with her latest conversion where it was more back and forth kind of thing. I did not print off the pattern for it because she resent the whole pattern with the grids as to what day to put what, you know, your temperatures in. I didn't print it off. But I kind of had the idea of what she wanted, and so I was just going to go with it and do it the way ever, you know, kind of how I wanted to do it. So here it is. I have, obviously this is the January one, and I went ahead, when January started and I started filling this in, I went ahead and did the outlining for February. And so far, that's probably what I'm going to do, unless I change my mind. When February starts, then I will do the outline for March. Because it does take a while to get all of that outlining done. So, with the January, let me see. I started with this one. Then I went over to here, and then here, 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 here. Actually, no, here and here, and then started going down here, here, and here. So I'm going back and forth. It's just so weird how I had a lot of dark colors over here. And it's like, I didn't plan this. I didn't do this on purpose. It's just kind of how it turned out. So it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be so pretty when it's finished. Yeah. And this one, I don't think I have what color I used. I think it is pear. The fabric color is called pear. And I can't remember who the fabric is made by. But that's as much as I know. Because I don't think I wrote it down. I've got my sheet in front of me and it doesn't look like I wrote all those down. So yeah, that's really cool. I probably have the tag downstairs. I need to get all that information listed in my stitching record, but it'll happen eventually. Okay, so I think we'll show you the bags and such, and then at the end I'll kind of talk about the other family stuff that's going on. So, bags. I've been very busy this last month. So, December and into January. I kind of told you I would. I wasn't able to do any bags in November and get them made so that I could show you in December. It was just too much going on. Plus, I know everybody's busy doing their family stuff. They probably aren't really necessarily shopping at that time anyway. For that, they're done potentially with that kind of thing. Okay, I'm trying to think how I want to do this because I've got several things going on here. Alrighty, first one. We've got some dragonflies. There is the zipper. And then I used more of a purple with blackish colors in the back. And then you got all this fun marble look, and it had all the colors because this is actually like a gold. It's not just a yellow, it's a gold. And it just worked so well with all the dragonfly wing colors and the iridescentness over here. So pretty. Now, I think with every single one of these bags, I did make a floss file to show you what it could look like. And therefore, as I've mentioned before, if you want different size bag, because I think, I didn't write all this down. This might be like 10 by 12 size. This is a little bigger. It's not like the really small ones that I usually do as samples. It kind of depended on what the fabric was, how it presented itself to be cut out, how much fussy cutting I needed to do in order to get a good look that you're going to see. So you can have different size bags as well as the floss files. You can have different size floss files. You can have whichever kind of size you want. So here's an example of one. And the inside. So this is a 5x5 floss file. It's not super big. You can see how big it is next to my hand. So there, that it goes with that one. Let's see where I'll put these here. Okay, next one. The reason I ended up with this fabric that I'm about to show you is because I found the back fabric first, and I really, really, really wanted to use it and try to figure out, you know, what could I use to do the front. And of course I'm getting hot, so I'm going to put my hair up real quick before I'm not putting a fan on because it makes too much noise in the background. It's this humming Even though it's not a loud fan, it just, this phone picks up everything, and I did not know that. And in the last video, I didn't realize it until afterwards, and it's like, yeah, it's a little too late now to do anything about it. So yeah, I saw the back fabric and I liked it so much that I had to find a front fabric, and I really, really like the front as well. So, isn't it pretty? So pretty. Those butterflies are awesome. So I picked this because I was trying to emulate, mimic, whatever, all of the grasses type stuff that the butterflies were in. So that's why it looks like that. And here is, the zipper will hold still. Here's the zipper pull. So it's got more of the orange and red butterfly, as well as kind of a rainbowish look for the beads. And this was the fabric. Like, what can I use this with? It is awesome. So cool. It's just so cool. So that is this. And I'm going to show you what the rest of the butterfly fabric looked like, because it wasn't just the oranges. So I'm going to find where I can show you the other colors as well. Da, 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 da. Let me see here. Where do they start? Okay. So you got kind of this yellow and green one, and then there's a blue and purple one. So those combinations can be made into bags as well. It doesn't just have to be the orange and reddish ones, even though they're nice. It's just letting you know that there are some other options there for different coloring. So that's with that, and I went ahead and used this for the floss file because the butterflies were just too big and would not have really worked real well for a floss file. So in the inside, and there's bag number 2. All right, bag number 3 are these little cutie patooties. So we've got our little mermaids. They look like sailor mermaids. At least some of them do. Kind of do, because a lot of them are wearing, like this girl has a bandana on. She's got her pirate hat on. This is the zipper pull. I don't know how well it's going to focus. It's basically a mermaid holding up. It looks like a jewel, but I think it's kind of the idea of a pearl. And then the same coloring in the beads. And the back, I used this fun thing. So you got the mermaid tails, but also some whales for the water. I wanted to use something accenting, and they've got a lot of pink hair or pink bandanas or whatever. Fun thing about this is you got all different color shades of skin for the mermaids. So you've got darker shades, you've got paler shades. So that's kind of fun. So there is this. I'll show you the floss file real quick. Just did this. So used that one. There's the inside. So with this fabric line, I cannot make any more that are made with the white background for this. As well as I don't think I can use this exact color. I'll have to look here in a second. No. I don't have this, because this fabric, when I got it, was a stack of fat quarters. So I was able to make this bag, but that pretty much used those fabrics that I had for this. I have other colors though. So I've got like this combination. So that's the whale there, and that's the scales that I used around the zipper. So I've got that. I've got a lighter shade of the green, the same kind of thing going on. And if you want coordinating, contrasting, you know, kind of however you want to do it, I do have some pinks. So just whales and scales. So you could kind of like what I did with that one. I used, I'm trying to think how they had combined these. I used this green that would have potentially been used with something else. And maybe you could have used this with one of these pink ones for the top part here. I mean, you can mix and match them so many ways. So yeah, these are options as well. Just letting you know in case something you want a different size than that bag, because obviously, like I said, I used up all that fabric for that particular coloring. So I can't make it, I can't change the size of that, but I can make different sizes with the green ones. The next bag, we have our Sleeping Beauty. Yes. So I used a castle as well as pink and blue beads. Fun thing is, Amy, if you remember when you watched the Disney version of Sleeping Beauty, you know, the fairies are saying, make it blue, make it pink, make it blue, make it pink. So they change her dress color as she's dancing. This is the back. So very, very flowery and pretty like Aurora. Yep. And here's the floss file that I made to go with it. Here's the inside, her mom and dad there. Okay, so there's that one. The next one we have, let me see if I got my thing there. Just a nice, you know, we're going to be getting into spring where flowers are going to start. There's only so much you can do for winter for these things, for the bags. I didn't want to necessarily do a like a Valentine's seasonal one, though I could if somebody wanted one and they knew some fabric. It's not a lot of Valentine fabric, and not everybody wants something that seasonal. So try to make it generic enough and for the coming season where things are going to start blooming pretty soon, depending on where you live. So that's why I've got some flowery ones or bird ones in here. So that is this one. There's the back. And there is the zipper. It is a hummingbird for this one. Pick the bead colors to go with what was here. So you do have a hummingbird here. The fabric has other birds here. You can see a yellow one here, and you've got this one here, and there might be a couple others. I can't remember right off. But yeah, there's lots. This is like the 7x9 size. So when I mentioned making smaller ones, that was this kind of size. I like having smaller ones to show, unless it doesn't lend itself to the cutting out of the fabric. Here is the floss file for that I made. And the inside. Again, 5x5 are all of the floss files that I made for showing you. So that's what size these are. Alrighty, next one. Again, another bird, but this is so artsy and just different that I really, really wanted to do something fun with this. So yeah, you've got like the collage kind of look and the painting and all that kind of stuff on there. There's a lot going on with that fabric, so there's more than just this, which I probably could have showed you, but I forgot. So got some brown, and then the zipper pull. It's a bird with this really neat little cage type thing, and then the coloring here to match. So there's that. And what I did for the floss file for this, because I'm kind of saying that it will work with this, is it was actually different fabric, and it looks like it goes with it, but it's very different. It's like birds on a wire. It's very cute. Just a whole row of birds on a wire. And then we've got the inside. Again, I put the snap down a little low so that it would blend in with the rest of this down here instead of putting it right across their head and being awkward and weird. So there's that one. Then when I was at the quilt store, I saw this fabric. It was new fabric they hadn't even put out yet. It was just sitting by their cutting table, and I scoured through it and found it. So pretty. It's so pretty. Just lovely. Just a nice floral paisley mandala kind of look. And that gray with those flowers really looks nice too. This is the back. And then this is, I really like this zipper. Doesn't really want to focus in, does it? Not sure why. This is a really good, it's supposed to have a really good camera on it, and for some reason it's just not wanting to focus on it. But yeah, I really like those. So there's that. And a floss file to go with it. And fun there. Alrighty, just a couple more. Gotta have my coffee. Gotta have my coffee. There's some coffee pots as well. And then I went ahead and used a cup. And then beads that kind of look like beans. Kind of resemble a bean. But yeah, something a little different. And I went ahead and used this one for the floss file part. There's that. So you can have that as you want. And then the next one, I've got several different options that I will show you on here, and it will be available, but you know, once some of this is gone, it's gone. Fun. It's the Gnomes. A little more springy, fun. Got that beautiful fabric as well. And then what I did was I made this. This is a mushroom. It's like a spotted mushroom. And he matches the coloring. But what you could do, and that I have, is I've got this little gnome. He can be on the end instead. I also have, which I think I'll do separate, a little like rake, a little hand rake, and a little trowel. Now they wouldn't, I won't put them together. They would be separate because then I have more to go around. Those can be options instead of the mushroom. I do have more mushroom ones, but they would be different colors. Obviously they would match. I've got this really cool blue bead stuff that I could use as well. I didn't use it on here because I already had that blue mushroom, but I could use that instead. It is so cute. Now, kind of like with the birds and the collage look, and there's so much going on, this is the same way. So I'm going to show you the fabric so you can see besides, so you've got the house and he's holding up his can and he's got the little squirting water and all that. So I will show you what else options there are. You can see there's a lot going on. So this could be cut and have whichever parts you would like put in as part of your bag or floss file. So yeah, there's a lot going on with that fabric. The floss file that I made was this one. Again, I put the snap a little lower just so that I could cover up something that wasn't as big of a deal instead of right in the middle of the watering can. And he's on the back. And see what's in the middle is that. So there's a lot of bags and a lot of floss file things for you to look at. Now I have something else that I usually don't show too much on when I'm showing the stuff that I have that I'm selling, but I've got a lot of them right now. There's so many. There's a lot to show you. I will show you kind of the whole part of it here, and then I'm going to take a separate video where I can get closer to it and show you each one a little bit better with a little more detail and all of that, so that it's because it would be really, really hard for me to do that, trying to hold it and do this. So, needle minders. So many needle minders. I'll give you a little hint. Most of them are like bejeweled kind of things, but I will make something else. These ones are resin. They're actually made of resin. And they've got glitter and stuff in them, coloring in them. The rest of them are metal. One I want to show you real quick that's special, that I think is so cool, is this. Let me put it on here so you can see it a little better. This guitar is so cool. He has so much detail on him that I was kind of shocked when I found it. So it's got lots of detail. And these are actually strings. It is so freaking cool. I just wish there were a whole bunch more that I could have gotten a hold of. And turned them into needle minders. So, yes, I will put a video in here with those now. Okay, I think the last thing that we have that I was going to talk to you about is more family stuff. I hope you guys enjoy being able to visit and have me share these things and not just stick with stitching related stuff, because, you know, this is our life and we like to share what's going on with our life. So my mother-in-law has lived at, I'm going to set that up a little better, has lived in assisted living facilities for a couple of years. Well, she's been in an independent living facility, but she was also at a couple different assisted living facilities. It's just been kind of a mess having her being moved around so much. So she's at one now. So they do help her with certain things. She has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So if we felt she needed it, we could move her into their memory care section of their building. We don't think she's quite there yet, but every day it seems like it just gets a little bit closer. So it will happen eventually, but we're trying to hold it off as long as possible so that, you know, they decline every time they move. And so that's going to limit her freedom as well. And we just want to try to postpone that as long as possible. So my husband goes and visits her every week. So every Saturday he goes, and it used to be that they would go get groceries because she was in, even though she was in an independent living, they provided all their meals, but she wanted certain things like drinks in her room, as well as snack things and whatnot. So they would go grocery shopping, they'd have lunch, they might go somewhere else, kind of depending on what was planned for the day. They don't really need to do that now. She's gotten to the point where she really doesn't even need any food for the most part in her room at all. So there just isn't a lot. They provide other things there at where she lives now that she had to buy before. She just doesn't really need to buy anything. Occasionally she might, but not really. So most of the time now they go to lunch together. They may go for a drive. They may need to go to the store because maybe my husband needs to get stuff, and so they'll go to the store just so she has an outing to do, basically. So he was over there on Saturday, and he calls her before he gets there and says, "Are you ready?" Making sure she's all ready to go and whatnot. So he gets there and she's still sitting in her robe and really hasn't done anything. So after about a half an hour, he finally tries to get her motivated to go. And she is having a very, very hard time moving. She says that her legs, and she has complained about her hip quite a bit lately, but you don't know what is wrong and how much of it's a problem. And is it just, we're also waiting for information from her doctor, like can we give her different medication and whatnot. So there's been a lot of delay and just trying to figure things out. So she could hardly move. And so much so that, I mean, you could tell how much pain she was in. She just hardly moved. And she said it wasn't just that day. It was also the day before and the evening and stuff. And she was hurting so much that she pretty much just slept in her chair. I don't think she could get out of her chair, or it would take her a really, really long time to actually do it. So we're pretty sure she just stayed in her chair because it hurt too much to get out, and she didn't call anybody because she forgets. She's got one of those things to push, those buttons to push to get help for them to come, because that's why she's in assisted living. And she didn't, because she probably forgot, or she didn't have it handy on her, which she should be wearing anyway. So he, finally motivates her, and she finally gets up. He helps her, but she is just having a terrible time walking to the bathroom. And she's in there for about half an hour, and he's asking her how she's doing, and finally says, "Do you need help?" And she's like, "Yeah, maybe." So he goes down and finds one of the caregivers, and they come up and go in the bathroom to help her. It turns out that I think both legs, but especially one leg, was very, very swollen. So they got her, whatever they needed to do in the bathroom, and then they got her out on her bed and laid her down and elevated her feet. And then they put in an order that they were going to check on her every 2 hours to make sure that she was still doing okay and needed anything, whatnot. And of course, she still has the little button that she can push, and we made sure she had it handy. So they end up calling us later that night and said that she had pushed the button. So thankfully it wasn't that waiting for the 2 hour marks. She had pushed the button for help, and when they came in, they found her on the floor. So best guess, she tried to get up and she wanted to go to the bathroom and fell. I mean, luckily it's carpet, so it's not hardwood floor. But we don't know how she fell, if she hit anything when she fell, and all that kind of stuff. So they called us to tell us, but they also wanted to ask, can we basically dial 911? And that could be for tooth. And I think they originally said to take her to the hospital, Because you can call 911 and just have the fire department come and pick somebody up that can't get off the floor. Because they had tried to get her off the floor, but she was in so much pain they couldn't. So not only do they need assistance getting her up, but she really needs to go to the hospital. So they took her to the hospital, did all kinds of scans. Of course, this takes forever. And my husband wanted me to go because they told us on the phone that one person can go in the room with her in the ER. And they told us I could wait in the cafeteria. And we get there and they say, I'm sorry what you're told, but no, you can't wait in the cafeteria. It's only the people who are visiting, so my husband would have been able to, and patients, if the patients are walking around for some reason. So, it's cold outside, and I have nowhere else to go except the car. So, I got to wait in the car for a very, very long time. And even still, I left before my husband did because my son came and got me and took me home. So they did a whole bunch of tests on her, and it continued into the next day because we got more information the following day too. But we found out that her legs and her lungs had blood clots in them. And the one that was swollen had a pretty sizable blood clot in it. So they were waiting for a couple other tests before they started her on blood thinner to try and, you know, take care of those blood clots. Then we also found out the following day that as well as blood clots in her lung, there's nodes, and her thyroid has nodes. We didn't know what that meant. They probably didn't know exactly what that meant yet either. So today I know they finally took her in, because that was Saturday. So today they took her in to do biopsy on the node in the kidney, or not kidney, the thyroid. I don't know what they're going to do about the one in the lungs, because that is a horrible, horrible test to have to get any kind of, if you don't do surgery for it, like actually put them under and cut them up and do surgery that way. There's another way you can get stuff from the lungs, but it's awful. It's awful. So they might be able to tell from the thyroid ones, you know, it's probably going to be the same kind of thing. Of course, the C words mentioned, cancer, don't know. We have no idea what these things are. She's been a pretty healthy person her whole life. So I know that doesn't necessarily mean anything for people who end up getting cancer. They could be very healthy and still end up with it. So we don't know, in other words. And since they just did the biopsy today, I don't know when we're going to hear back. She was also, because she was in so much pain, she was pretty weak and had a really, really hard time getting out of bed to go use the restroom. They were having her use a walker to try to do this, but she was still really weak from that. But apparently today she's done much, much better. She's still a little wobbly, even using the walker, but she's not as weak as she was. So that's a good sign. We don't know. And the good thing about that is that we thought she was going to have to go to like one of those rehabilitation places, nursing home type of situation. And that's where they do physical therapy for people who need a much more constant physical therapy until they recover enough to go back to where they live. So with her doing much better today, it sounds like that might not be needed. She probably could go back to the place where she lives, and then they would just come and do therapy with her at her home. Okay, you know, not as often, but they would still get there. She used to be a big walker. She used to walk a lot. She's not done that as much, especially since she's lived in the place she's at now. And so she's very sedentary. She sits a lot. And that is probably what has caused the blood clots. The nodes, who knows? Who knows what those are caused from. So there's a lot going on around here. You know, whenever I make out my Christmas letter to send to family and friends and whatnot, you always sit there and think, this was kind of a busy, crazy year. Next year has to be slower. It has to slow down next year, really? Can't it? And it never does. It always seems like more things are happening and more stuff is going on, and it would be nice to have kind of a calm year and nothing major going on. Who knows when that will happen? Oy, yeah. Oy, oy, oy. So, yeah, we're dealing with that. Yeah, life. So, I think that's all that I was going to cover. I did not forget to show you the hay this time because I didn't work on it. So that was not a forgetful thing. I just don't have it to show you because there's really nothing to show you. So, yeah. I don't promise anything for this next month either. It may happen, it may not. Anyway, let's go ahead and let you go. It's just been a little over an hour, and I still have to make the video for the close-up of the needle minders to show you, which you probably have already seen now. But yeah, it's been long enough, and we'll let y'all go and get back to whatever you need to do. Anyway, I hope you had fun visiting with me again today, and that you are having a wonderful, blessed day, week, month, whatever. Hopefully things aren't going quite so rough for you as they are for us right now. Anyway, I will let you go, and I'll see you in about another month. Bye.